which is the same page as before. So if you print anything out, it will be the same. All right, so today we're going to do 12 to 17. And let me actually use the whiteboard so I have space. And we're just going to do that problem. I'm going to probably do 2 myself, and I'll make 1 do like right now for the Zoom, count as your participation, and then you're free to go afterwards. So hopefully we can do this quick. Hey, Johnson.
I have no idea how to do today's homework.
So pay attention. So let's do number 12.
Ooh. The one that's due at 5 o'clock today.
Ask me afterwards then. You could have came a little earlier if you wanted. Okay. But x squared plus 2x equals 3. So we're going to start off with that. And I'm going to follow the steps that I typed up in Google Classroom. So the first thing I think I say is separate the x's from the constants. Hey, they're already separated, so that's done. Part 2, very easy. Add c to both sides. Why are we adding c to both sides? The reason we're doing that is so we actually have a trinomial. And when we have a trinomial, we could do some factoring stuff. That's a backwards c. I must be a little crazy.
Isn't it -3?
It was negative.
What number are you doing?
Number 12. This is up to the homework that I posted today. I'm happy to go homework due today after this stuff. I want to make sure to get this done and free anyone else. So we have this. So we plus c on both sides. I'm sorry. Now the next thing we're going to have to do is put a value for c. And what formula we're going to use for c is always the same. And it's a very important number. Not a very important number, but it's pretty important. B over 2, all of that squared, is going to replace my c. So here's 2. Remember, it's always A, B, C. So my B in this case is
1 plus 2.
So 2 over 2 reduces down to 1. Okay?
Sure.
And then 1 squared is 1.
Wait, what did you do?
Sure. So what I did is I identified my B, which is 2, is always the one next to the x, right, Jonathan? Then I plug in 2 for B. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and then 1 squared is 1. So my letter C will become the number 1.
Is this like a formula? Is this like a formula?
This part is a formula right here. You see that? That box?
I'm still stuck on x squared plus 2x plus 3.
What does that formula say? I can't see it.
How did you get to that?
Okay. So one question at a time. First off, let me make this bigger so everyone can see. Second off, this right here is B over 2 squared. This is the formula you want to remember for this section, which is completing the square. Now, first question I heard was, how do we get to here? We start off with our problem, 12 over this number right here. And the problem is, unless I guess and check, I'm not going to get the answer here. I could guess and check forever, but I'm not going to get the answer here. So what I'm going to do is do a method that will guarantee me my answer. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is put C on both sides. That's what I did. That's step 1. Second step is I'm going to change the C into a number that's perfect. And I'm going to show you why it's perfect after. But the number that happens to be perfect is 1 in this case. So plus 2x plus 1. Over here, this C is also a 1. So it's 3 plus 1. So over here is going to become 4. Okay? Now, why is this number 1 perfect? The number 1's perfect because right here, that I'm underlining, is a trinomial that we could factor. Now, the reason we put 1 is because it's going to always, if we use b over 2 squared, it's always going to factor perfectly like this. X plus 1, x plus 1. It's always going to factor into x plus whatever b over 2 is, okay? That's always going to happen. And you could look, what multiplies a 1 that adds a 2? 1 times 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Now, since they're exactly the same, I could rewrite this as x plus 1 squared. It still equals 4. Nothing happened on the right side yet. So at this point, now it goes back to the version we were doing before at 9.4 or whatever, is where we could square root both sides. So I square root this left side, and I square root this right side. So the left side here becomes x plus 1. The reason is these cancel out. The inside completely stays the same. over here, the square root of 4 is not just 2, but plus minus 2. Don't forget that. It's plus minus 2. Because it's plus minus 2, we're going to get 2 answers. I got to solve for x, so I'm going to minus 1, minus 1. So right now I have x equals plus or minus 2 minus 1. Because 2 is a number we could actually work with, I want you to actually find me the answer. So I'm going to split this into 2 situations. Positive 2 minus 1 and negative 2 minus 1. From there, 2 minus 1 is 1. That's one of my answers. And then negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. That's also one of my answers. And what does the answer stand for? If I were to plug it back into the original, it would get me whatever this number is. So if I plugged in negative 3 here, that'd be 9 minus 6 would give me 3. If I plugged in a 1, 1 plus 2 would give me 3.
So is the answer 1 or negative 3?
Both, 1 and negative 3. It's 2 answers.
Um,
Kind of like you remember in the quadratics when we graphed it, it hits the x-axis twice. That's the same thing, actually. Okay. So I'm going to small this a little bit. I'm going to do one more example myself, and then the last.
Do one more. I didn't get it.
I'm going to do one more myself, and then number 14, I'm going to make you guys do it, and you submit, like you send me the private message, and I'll call it. And I'll stay on if you guys want to hang out / need help. So the next one is x squared plus 10x equals 24. So I'm going to write that here. X squared plus 10x equals 24. Okay. This one I'm going to do a little faster / quicker. Okay. I'm erasing this. Let me just erase everything and then redraw. So this is x squared plus 10x equals 24. So again, I'm going to do this a little faster. The more method I expect you to do at the speed. All right, step 1, get the x's by itself. The x's on the left are already by themselves. We're very happy. Step 2, add c to both sides. X squared plus 10x plus c. These are kind of placeholders because we're going to figure out what c is later. But it's good to visualize it. Step 3, we're going to find what is b over 2. B is the letter here next to, or the number next to the x to the 1 power. So we're going to use b over 2, all this squared. So it's 10 over 2 squared, which is 5 squared. Pay attention to this 5 is going to pop up later, which becomes 25. Okay? So this whole thing becomes x squared plus 10x plus 25 equals, I'm going to put a 5 here, right? Or a 25 here on the right. And the 25 here is hold up, Ellie, I'm not looking at the question here. This question here is going to be 24 plus 25. I figured out this was 25. So this is going to be 49, okay? So the left side, I'm going to factor out. I'm not going to spend time factoring out because I picked the perfect number to make it a perfect square. This is why it's completing the square, completing the perfect square. So this is going to become, and I'm going to shorthand it, x plus 5 squared. I expect you to shorthand it like this. This is faster, more efficient. The reason why we even did this. You don't have to do what multiplies to 25 that adds to 10. You already know because this number right here that I pointed out, and I'll use a different color, that I pointed out here is the special number that we care about. So then.
Don't you mean 25, not 5?
What's up?
Don't you mean 25? You wrote 5.
25 is the number here, which is important, especially when you add it to here. But the number that's going to pop up on the inside is just b over 2. It's just b over 2, not squared. So it's just the number here, which is 5.
Okay, you don't square it?
You do square it for this part here, and then you use this number in blue, or underlined in blue, for this part here. So you use it 2 different ways.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. So then we're going to square root both sides. When we square root this, it's very nice because it cancels out. So it's just x plus 5, it stays safe. Over here, though, this 49 is not as lucky. It's going to become plus or minus 7. Because the square root of 49 is 7. Go to subtract 5, subtract 5. So x equals plus or minus 7 minus 5. That right there is super sloppy. I apologize. Right here. Okay. So now we're primed to solve it. We just need to do 2 separate questions here. It's positive 7 minus 5 and negative 7 minus 5. Positive 7 minus 5 is 2. So one of my answers are 2. Negative 7 minus 5 is negative 12. Negative 12 is the one. So your answers are 2 and negative 12. Okay.
For the homework, are we just finding what C equals?
For the homework that was due today, you were just finding what C was. But today's homework, you're going to finish it off.
Oh, fine. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Scarlett, I think I was. Yeah, go ahead.
What?
Yes, go.
What happens when it's negative and you have to square it?
Say that one more time.
What happens and it's negative and you have to square it? It shows up as error in the calculator.
Good. Well, when you square root it, it'll be negative. So something like, I'll show you an example.
No, not square root it, like square it.
Well, when you square a negative, it should be a positive, no?
It says error in the calculator.
Are you using this?
Never mind. Yeah, when you square root it,
Yeah, remember, when you square root a negative number, it's imaginary. So here's an important part. I'm just going to bounce off that. Let's say you did everything and you got this. X plus 5 squared. Let's say equal, I don't know, negative 16. The problem is, this is negative. When you square root a negative, it doesn't exist. So at that point, when you square root that negative, you could write no solution. I don't know if it happens in any of these problems here, though.
No, just asking.
Oh, did it happen? Okay, cool. So what you guys are going to do, so I can mark you as both participating and attendance, is you're going to chat me, like in the Zoom chat, the answer you got for number
14.
But what I'm going to ask you is send me both answers. So you usually get a plus and a minus. Also tell me what did you find is the C value you added. I don't like number 14 because they use C as a variable. I disagree with that.
I changed it to X.
Yeah, exactly. Change it to X because I don't know why to use C when you're adding C. That's really dumb of them. But you're going to tell me 2 things. What's your 2 answers and what was the C value you found? So everyone's going to do number 14 themselves.
Wait, the C value before we squared it or after?
Well, B over 2 squared becomes C. So after you square it, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
But do you mind writing the problem down?
Oh, sure. It is x squared. Let me type that down or write it down. It is, and I'll do it in black over here, x squared, give me a second, minus 14 x equals 15. Very important, though. I want to point something out. Very important. That's a horrible 5, but that's not what I want to point out. What's very important to note is that it is a negative 14. So what's going to happen is that you're going to get, when you do b over 2 squared, negative 14 over 2 squared, which is negative 7. I guess I'm giving you c anyway. Is negative 7 squared, which is whatever, you know. But here, this number right here, when you do your parentheses, it's going to be x minus 7. That's going to be a very important thing. Because it's negative here, it happens to be negative here. Okay? So there's going to be x minus 7 squared. You do all the other stuff, but I'm just pointing that out. It's going to be x minus 7 squared. So again, you're going to send me what the c is, Scarlett. And then, so Scarlett, give me the 2 actual numbers, like actually do the adding and subtracting.
You can't square root 8. It comes to a net decimal.
It's not the square root of 8. You square rooted to get to 8 already. Don't forget that. Like Rebecca, you got it. Thank you, Rebecca. You're free to go if you want to go, but I'll stay on if anyone wants any more help with any of the homework. But Rebecca, you're free to go. Scarlett, like I said, you squared root it down to the number 8. So then it's just a normal 8 at that point. Or a normal plus minus 8. Ellie, I don't know if I said, but yeah, you got it. I'm sorry if I...
Wait, but 15 minus 7 is 8.
What?
15 minus... Oh, wait, never mind. Okay.
Yeah, you got it. Remember. Shayna, that's for number 14?
Yeah.
Wait, what's the square root of negative 34?
That doesn't exist. It's a negative number. So check your math. It's not going to be a negative. Guys, remember, negative 7 squared is 49. So what should you be adding to both sides? Shayna, you're off with your answers. Right? Okay. So check it out.
No, because I did negative 49 plus 15, which equals negative 34, right?
No, negative 7 squared is positive 49.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
There you go. Maybe Shayna, I don't know what the error you did. I know the answers are off, but I don't know how.
Coach, is that right?
Let me just scroll back up. I got a couple of hands. Jonathan, you should be getting 2 answers, and the answer you gave me is incorrect anyway. So give me the 2 right answers.
That's right.
Sam, you got the answers. Good. Ellie, you also have an amazing guess.
Yeah.
Shayna, so 49 is the C, which is good. But then you got to tell me, what are you going to do with that C?
I'm not sure.
All right.
Okay.
Give me a second.
Coach, let me tell you what I have so far.
Is mine correct?
I got
Adira and Goldman, good. Scarlett, good.
Are we able to go?
Yeah, you're free to go. When I say
Okay,
you're good.
thank you so much.
No problem. Jonathan, what's up?
so far C squared minus 14C plus 49 equals 15 plus 49. I made that into C squared minus 14C plus 49 equals 64.
Yeah.
Now, what do I do from there?
So how can you factor, or how could you rewrite x squared? I'm going to use x. So x squared minus 14x plus 49. How could you rewrite that as something?
It was like 7 with 7s. Negative 7,
Okay.
negative 7. X minus 7, X minus 7.
Good. And I could rewrite x minus 7 times x minus 7. That's x minus 7 squared. Go from there, okay?
I have that. I have X minus 7, X minus 7.
Which rewrite it as x minus 7 squared.
X minus 7 squared.
Jasmine, your numbers are way off. It's
Equals,
x minus 7, not x minus 49, if that's what you did.
now, I do
Jasmine,
it.
your answers are way off. I'm trying to figure out why, but I think in the parentheses is x minus 7, not x minus 49. Did you do that possibly?
Wait, where am I wrong?
Jasmine?
Wait, where am I wrong in the thing? Like, did I get that?
Your answers are wrong. They're way too big.
Oh, like 57 and negative 71?
Yeah, that's absolutely too large. My guess is that you're adding 49, which you shouldn't be at that point. You should be adding 7.
What do I do now?
Yeah.
I have X minus 7 squared equals 64.
All right, let's see. So let me clear this board so I can talk about it. First off, both Jasmine and Jonathan, are we
Thank you, Coach.
No problem, man. Are we both in agreement at this point right here? If we're not, we have to work on that. 40,
Yeah. I got that.
That's 49? No, 64. There's 64.
Yeah, I got 64 for that, yeah. And then you square 64.
Okay, so now we're going to square root both sides.
Oh, I did 8. Oh, you have to do 8.
I
Okay.
did that too. I got X minus 7 equals 8.
Equals plus minus 8.
Oh, I see what I did. I just wrote 64. I didn't write the 8 part. I just like.
Okay, that's why your numbers are so huge.
Oh, did I get it right?
Liam, good job, my man.
Thank you. Have a good day.
No problem. You too, bye. So you would do plus 7 here, plus 7 here. So now I have x equals plus minus 8 plus 7. So then you could split that into 2 situations. 8 plus 7 and negative 8 plus 7. You see how I'm getting both of those numbers? Does anyone have any questions on that so far?
Wait, so 8 plus 7 and negative 8 plus 7.
Yeah.
Wait, why are we adding 7? Shouldn't it be minus?
Well, it was minus here. So to remove the minus 7, you have to add 7 on both sides, right?
No, asking like, I like the first part where you wrote it. Like, why is it minus at the, yeah, over there.
Oh, right here? Because the original was negative 14. So you tell me, what is negative 14 divided by 2? That's still negative 7.
Oh, okay, fine.
After you square it, it becomes positive. Your new C is going to be positive. But
The answer is X equals 15, X is negative 1.
Yes, but type that into the Zoom chat because that's literally how I check the attendance because I can do it faster like that.
Oh.
Shayna, you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about this? I'm sorry. I don't think I addressed any of your concerns.
Honestly, like I don't really know it that well, but like I'll just like look at the video and then learn it. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm
You
good.
mind if we do one more together, Shayna? Jasmine and Jonathan, you're both good. If you want to stay long, I'm happy to do another one with you guys.
I mean, I'm okay, but thank you.
Okay.
I'm gonna say.
I'll just like look at the video again and like I'll relearn it. I just kind of wasn't paying attention.
Okay. But I do need some attention for class attendance. So how about we do number 15 together? Or can you do number 15 for me? Can you walk me through it at least?
Yeah, well, I'm not looking at 15 right now, so do you mind writing it out?
Yeah, so minus 6n equals 72. Okay, so you walk me through it. What do we should be doing?
Okay, square root it, so then it would be x minus 6x, well, the square root of 6x equals square root of 72. Then
No, we can't just square root like that right away. The reason is this right here will be a huge mess, and we can't square root that.
oh, did you add 6x? No.
6x, no. So what we're gonna do, let me walk you through it. You ready, Shayna?
Yeah, I got it.
Step 1, and I wrote the steps in the Google Classroom, so you could just copy them down if you ever do that. X squared minus 6x. I want to make this a perfect trinomial, something that's easy to factor. So I'm going to put a C there as a placeholder.
Didn't you just do plus 0?
Plus 0 wouldn't change anything, though. So we're
I know,
done.
like it's just easier to like look at because it's not putting in a
The problem is I can't put plus 0 because I'm not actually adding. I'm actually adding a number that's not 0.
don't know what it is yet.
I mean, you could put plus 0, but I think that's a big door opening to making mistakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So this C is going to get replaced anyway in one turn.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do to find the perfect C is this step. B over 2 that number squared. Okay? So the number happens to be 6. Negative 6 in this case, right? So negative 6 over 2 squared. What does that end up becoming, Shayna?
What? Negative 6 over 2.
Is?
Negative 3.
Good. And what's negative 3 squared?
9.
9. Okay. So now I'm going to just replace these C's with 9s.
Mm-hmm.
And Shayna, I know you like to shorthand. You could just go right to here. You don't have to put the C part if you don't feel like it, okay?
Yeah.
But then here, 72 plus 9, I want to add that to make it a little bit more simple.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to become 81.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I got something else to do. Let me erase this. Now I want to, this right here, Shayna, looks familiar. How does it look familiar to you?
Dot, because it's like A, B, and C.
Yeah, good. It's ABC. So what do we do with ABC?
You have to like identify which is A, which is B, and which is C.
Good. And what is it going to be?
A is 1.
Mm-hmm.
B is 6, negative 6.
Good.
C is 9.
Good. So C is 9. So what do we do with B and C?
For, I don't know, maybe like fill it in.
Fill what in?
No, I don't know. I was taking a guess, but I don't know. What would I do?
Oh, you're trying to see what multiplies to C and what adds to
B.
B. So what multiplies to 9 that adds to negative 6, Shayna?
3 and 3.
Well, positive 3 and positive 3 will give you a positive 3.
Negative 3 and then negative 3.
Good. That would add up to negative 6. So what happens is it looks like this. X minus 3,
Mm-hmm.
X minus 3. Wait a second. That's exactly the same thing. So I can rewrite that part.
But didn't you just like unfold it? Like, what's the point?
Well, here's the point. I could rewrite this right here as X minus 3 squared.
Yeah, but
Why
then
would that be useful?
back to this is. I feel like this is not useful because you just get back to the original problem. It's just this, but you take it out and make it more complicated.
You would think that, but here's the thing. Because this little complication that I did right here allows me to rewrite this thing right here as this, X minus 3 squared. it allows me to do what you said in the beginning, which is square root both sides.
Yeah.
I could not do that before because the square root of this is like some monstrous thing. Like to do it, we need like calculus. No, we do need at least algebra.
Have x minus 3 equals 9. No, because 9. Yeah, 9.
Not just 9. X minus 3 equals what kind of 9?
Negative?
Not just negative 9.
Squared?
No, we just square rooted. Why would it be squared?
I don't know. Let's just guess. Or you can just do like, I guess, negative 3 to the third power. I don't know. Oh, yeah, that's so obvious. Plus or equal, plus or minus 9 squared.
Yeah.
9.
So yeah. So plus or minus 9, right? So you got to remember that because you're going to get 2 answers. You need both of them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to plus 3 on both sides. And Shayna, you're just going to finish off for me and I'll let you go. What is 9 plus 3?
11. I meant 12. 12.
12, okay. And what's negative 9 plus 3?
6. Negative 6.
There you go. So here's your 2 answers, Shayna, okay?
Mhm.
Please recheck out the video, okay? I recommend writing notes. You know, I always say that, Shayna. So
You have what I got on my test. I don't think I did best because I went over it with my tutor.
I go to start grading it maybe a little after. It's a little hot up here. I'll cool down and then I'm going to grade it. But it should be graded by the end of the day. You'll know instantly because I'll post it. Like you'll get the response on Google Classroom. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day.
No problem. You too. It is, huh?